So I think that allowing a small group of society to increasingly monopolize power and wealth over time is obviously something we should be worried about. But primarily, the reason that I worry about wealth inequality is because I see and I bet on and I make money on the fact that it causes living standards to fall.
By the way, I actually really agree with you. And the founding fathers of the US, they did, especially around the 1900s, they did want to break up monopolies. And breaking up monopolies was one of the big things that they did trust busting.
Damn. Wait, the Patriots? How old were the founding fathers again? Did they make it? Did he just say the? I'm sorry. Maybe he misspoke, or maybe I misheard. It sounded like he said the founding fathers in the 1900s wanted to break up monopolies, but maybe I misheard.
Living standards to fall.
By the way, I actually really agree with you. And the founding fathers of the US, they did, especially around the 1900s, they did want to break up monopolies. And breaking up monopolies was one of the big things that they did trust busting, where they broke up Standard Oil and all of those sorts of things. One thing I do really see happening at the moment is that we have a stupid, outdated definition of monopolies, where we use monopolies the same way they used it when they had the oil companies that owned all the oil. In the technology world, a monopoly is formed through an ecosystem. So Amazon, for example, owning AWS and Audible and this and this and this and Whole Foods, it creates a fortress that's almost impossible to compete with. And Google owning YouTube and Gmail and all of this, they create these fortresses through ecosystems. And one of the things that I do think we need to look at is compulsory breakup of big tech once you hit a certain time, because it's very difficult. Because billionaires have two big fears, right? Keep them up at night, having nightmares. Number two is high taxes. Number one is that startup entrepreneur who disrupts their business, and they want to kill that early. You know, Steve Jobs.
No, stop. What? Excuse me. The 1990s called. They want their talking points back. Yes, Google and Amazon and all these people are fucking petrified. This is not the 80s or the 90s where one dude with a crazy good idea can change the whole fucking world in the market. Like, all these things that have fucking teams of researchers behind them. In the scientific world, in the business world, you need huge amounts of capital, influence, market position. Like, there's so much. Like, come on. What was the last time this happened, I guess? Like, even the shit that Elon gets credit for, like SpaceX and Tesla, these were all acquisitions. He didn't even start these companies. Like, he bought these companies or was like part of a group of investors. Started like,
Jobs at 24 years old disrupted IBM, and Jeff Bezos.
IBM? What year?
Disrupted Walmart. So,
what year?
So they are terrified of entrepreneurs in the middle. And they want to create government regulations to say, hey, you know what? Let's cap entrepreneurs at 10 million. You can get to 10 million. It's okay for us.
Do you think Amazon, Apple, Google, and Meta need to be broken up? Hell yeah. No more owning multiple businesses. You get one, and then you have to make a new business. Fuck them up. Hell yes.
Government regulations to say, hey, you know what? Let's cap entrepreneurs at 10 million. You can get to 10 million. It's okay for us. We're way past that point. But Gary's our guy because he's going to cap everyone at 10 million.
I never said cap anyone at 10 million, by the way.
Well, because what do you think will happen? People stop. As soon as you have wealth taxes, people just give up. They just
so you're telling me our viewers, if they knew they could build a 20, 30 million pound company,
it sounds ridiculous.
But they knew they would have to pay 20. If you're worth 30 million, 1% above is 200 grand a year. So if I said if you can have a 30 million pound company,
do traders stop?
Just bear in mind, right? You make 5% a year on your wealth, right? So if you've got a 300 million pound company, you're going to be making 15 million pound a year, and I'm turning to you and I'm going to say, you know, you've got to pay 200 grand a year on your 50 million pound revenue, and they're going to say, you know what? I'm not going to start a business. I don't want to be worth 30 million quid. This is, you know, this is ridiculous. You know, nobody is going to say, oh my God, I don't want to be a multi-millionaire because in 20 years' time, I'll have to pay 1% taxes.
But most traders are earning what most people earn in a lifetime, traders can earn in a year. Most traders don't.
What is he talking about? When he says traders, does he just mean, I don't know what he's talking about. Like an individual investor guy, or like somebody working for a company like Citibank, like this guy? Because these are, I would argue these are substantially different jobs. But
most traders are earning what most people earn in a lifetime, traders can earn in a year. Most traders don't stop.
No,
right?
Talk about that a lot in my book.
Right? So most traders just keep going. Entrepreneurs are the same, that they're motivated to keep going. But when you have wealth advisors and investors saying, do not build a company in the UK because they're anti-wealth.
Listen, I'm not trying to make the UK anti-wealth. I'm not trying to make the UK anti-wealth. I think the UK and the US need to be looking at a situation where you cannot allow people who own enormous businesses that sell to your country to live in Dubai, to live in the Cayman Islands and not pay tax. And I don't think that's a controversial position.
I've got a question for both of you, which is if you are a young person and you're 18 years old now and that you're listening to this, but your objective really is an individualistic one, you want to get rich and you have a great future for you and your family, like all of us have been able to do. What would your advice be to them, Gary, at this moment in time?
This is such a hard question. I know Dan's angry at me for what I put in my video, How to Get Rich. Somebody came around to my house and asked me this the other day. Obviously, I get asked it a lot because...
Get out.
Stupidly, I'm very public about the fact that I'm rich. What I did is not replicate.
Bro, it's literally your brand. Oh my God, I have never seen somebody so insecure about their money before. This guy flexes harder than a fucking red pillar. It's actually pathetic. Jesus.
what I did is not replicable. It's not. I'm sorry, but it's not. People always say, why don't you teach me to trade? Like, it's hard. It's hard trading and it's dangerous. And I think
It's not, your job was not, you didn't do hard trades or dangerous trades. It's not like you were risking your personal assets, bro. The start desk is not trading you how to be an individual, like, guy who could go out and run a fucking hedge fund or something. Or what, like, oh, this is a grift and he's lying and he knows this. This is intentional because he did work this job and he knows he's lying here.
a lot of young men are getting sort of sold into trading and becoming gambling addicts. You know, work hard. And I wouldn't even say don't become an entrepreneur. I've never ever said these things. Work hard. You know, if you think that you have an opportunity in tech entrepreneurship, go for it. Understand it's risky. I think that sometimes this message, just become an entrepreneur and you'll make it, is a bit dangerous because I think most people who try to become entrepreneurs fail, and I think it's super, super dangerous. The reality is, and you know, maybe Dan won't like this, maybe you won't like this, I think it is very, very difficult for a young man or a young woman from a poor family to become rich. And I think it's increasingly hard even to just get those basics of financial security. So, listen, obviously reduce your spending if you can. Don't buy into this like Balenciaga bullshit. Stay away from that. But work hard, study hard, try to get a good job. But also understand, we are shrinking the seats on the lifeboat. That's what we're doing. We used to allow 50% to be secure. Then it's 40%. Then it's 30%. Then it's 20%. You know, you've got family in Nigeria. If a young person from like Shantytown in Nigeria came to you and said, Stephen, what can I do to get rich? You would have to say to them realistically, listen, you are in a difficult situation here. You need to work really, really hard. But if you are able to make enough money to support a family, be proud of yourself.
What I would actually say to them, so yeah, I have got family in Nigeria, for people that don't know. But
Oh no. The African guy at the table. Fuck. Bad country. Fuck. I should have said Indonesia. Fuck.
blood half Nigerian, I would say to them that knowledge is really your life raft. So obviously there's a big tech boom happening in Nigeria, which is liberating a lot of people from
What?
that.
This guy here. Okay, I'm so sorry. The name of this channel is Diary of a CEO. It feels like this is like a grift, like fucking fake bullshit business advice channel. But I feel like everything this guy has said has actually been like decently intelligent. Like I feel like he hasn't said anything fucking stupid. When he was challenging the middle guy before, and the guy was like, you know, I became an entrepreneur and then I started over with nothing. And then most people, like your Daily Wires or your Joe Rogans or whatever else, would say like, wow, yeah, you did start over with nothing. But this guy didn't. He's like, you didn't start over with nothing. First of all, you've already shown that you have the potential to build this business. And two, you had the wealth of knowledge and everything from your earlier experiences, right? He said that. I appreciate that. And he's like, well, and what about my friend who is Iron Man, the quadriplegic? Well, your friend is probably a really exceptional guy. He's a 1%. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like have we watched a video from this guy before and I thought it was dumb or something? I don't know. Everything this guy said has been pretty like he doesn't sound like a dipshit. Like yeah.
Really your life raft. So obviously there's a big tech boom happening in Nigeria, which is liberating a lot of people.
Oh, him saying here, like your knowledge or whatever, it is so important. The investments that you make in yourself and your ability to be knowledgeable in terms of like how to leverage your own, I don't want to use the word education, I guess, but like skill set to make money, like those types of investments you make in yourself are insanely important. Yeah.
People from that situation. So I would try and tell them to get on the life raft that is like knowledge of this new revolution. So from Nigeria, you can learn to code. And then the great thing now is that we literally have, actually, this is quite interesting. We're building a tech company in San Francisco called Flightcast. It's live. Everyone can go look at it at flightcast.com. And the lead developer, and Guess Radar, the lead developer of Guess Radar is a Nigerian guy.
But how many of those jobs in the Nigerian tech sector are going to kids that grew up in the shanty towns?
I have no idea.
Because I worked in, people ask me, tell me how to do what you did, all right? I worked in Canary Wharf. It's in East London. I could see the building from my house growing up. There was not a single other kid from East London the whole time I was there.
Do you know, to Dan's point about this remote work revolution, where like work now you can work from anywhere. And in our company Third Web, San Francisco, some of the staff that we now have are in the Philippines because they just have like great creatives there. It's obviously more cost effective. Isn't this a huge part of what's going on in our economy, this digitalization and this remotification of work?
It is. But I think for many people, you know, I'm sure you pay your workers in the Philippines very, very well.
Nice.
Most of these people, they used to have a half decent wage in an office, and now they're locked in their bedrooms, barely paying the bills.
Yeah.
In the Philippines?
Not in the Philippines. The Philippine guys are balling out of control.
No, I'm saying the Philippines is booming at the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
So you think the average person in the Philippines is living a luxurious life?
what's happening at the moment?
Do you think the average
Not
person in the Philippines is living a luxurious life?
There is this thing called remote foreign workers, and this is a huge boom. And the economic
So
boom.
the kids should move to the Philippines then. It's great. You get a great quality of life in the Philippines.
Compared to what they were doing before, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, this guy is so obnoxious.
When I look to the slums of Manila, they should just get jobs. I don't know why they're not getting their laptops out. The poverty in the Philippines is horrific. Listen, Philippines is a beautiful country, an amazing country. I love the Philippines. I've been a number of times.
Money's flowing in there at a rate that's
But
never been.
what is the life like for your average Filipino?
Well, would you agree though that their economy is just getting flooded with money at the moment? Like money's flowing in there.
Is it
Money's
better or
flowing in,
worse
but
than
it's
it
not
was
giving a
before?
good quality of life for your average Filipino.
That's not true. Remote foreign workers.
Well, we can
remote foreign workers
ask our Filipino viewers to tell us what's
remote
life's
foreign
like for
workers
the average.
can actually often support their
We can
entire
have a look.
family.
I don't know what the average wage is in the Philippines.
Just to bring it back to this point, though, so I wanted to know from Gary. He said, work hard. If you're a young guy listening to this now, I was reading this really interesting article yesterday I think it was from a major newspaper talking about the lost boys. And it goes to show that I think it's 1 in 7 young men that is at a working age now are out of work. So there's lots of talk around young men in particular and how they're struggling. You'd say work hard, Gary. You'd
Work
say
hard, no Balenciaga. But the big thing is recognize the situation that you're in. And I would encourage them to support my work and follow my channel because the lifeboats are shrinking. And trust me, we're going to get our kids in the lifeboats. We all know that. All right, and if those lifeboats are shrinking,
please support my
channel.
channel.
If you don't stop the ship from going down, it is not you and me who are going to go down.
Because we're the multimillionaires.
If you don't fight the political fight, I guarantee you, people like Daniel will.
So you're saying that they should also get involved in the political fight?
You have to. That's what our grandparents did.
And
That's
if they want to become millionaires like you and me and Dan.
Well, it sounds like Dan's got better advice for that than I do.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask Dan as well, but I'm wondering how your advice ties into sort of like the young person who's trying to liberate themselves from where you came from or where I came from.
You know, I don't think I'm the guy to say that, man, because, I had this unusual gift from a young age. I was very, very, very good at maths, and I just followed that. My sister, she's a poet, and she wrote a really successful grime and musical about Dizzy Rascal's first album, all right? She comes from obviously the same family as me, poor family. She worked so hard. She works so hard.
He's gonna be like, and she's starving to death on the street right now. Every day when I walk to the studio to film my YouTube channel, I see her starving on the street, sucking dick for crack cocaine. God bless her soul.
2 degrees. She can barely pay the rent. All right, so.
Oh no! Wait, what's he saying? Why, bro? What the? Your sister? Wait, there's a sister? Wait, what? Hello?
And my sister, she's a poet, and she wrote a really successful grime and musical about Dizzy Rascal's first album, all right? She comes from obviously the same family as me, poor family. She works so hard. She works so hard. 2 degrees. She can barely pay the rent, all right? So I don't want to turn around to our young kids and say, well, I got this talent, follow your talent. Because it doesn't work, Stephen.
True.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Wait, my sister does great work, but
yeah.
It's so funny because he actually does have that kind of story because no offense, his talent is worthless. Being good at math, that doesn't fucking get, what do you want to be, a pure math major, right? To take that talent and to be able to apply it or utilize it into a realm that's worth something, that is an additional skill set. And he obviously has that skill set, right? Because now he's transitioned to YouTube stuff, right? He has the entrepreneur brain, whether he wants to say he does or doesn't, but he does. And he's taken a skill like math that traditionally you probably can't do too much with. And then he flipped it into a usable career, like something in I guess trading or finance or whatever. So he could give that advice, but okay, whatever.
Financially, for young people, following your passion, following your talent, unless you come from a rich family, realistically, very, very rarely works. And I know it worked for the 3 of us at this table, but let's not pretend that everyone experiences the same things that we experienced.
What would you say to that, Dan, and what's your answer?
I think there's 2 economies going on at the moment. There's a dying economy, which is the Industrial Revolution economy, and that is all the office jobs and the factory jobs and all of that sort of stuff, which is very much being automated away and moved to globally. And at the same time, there's this new bubbling up digital economy, which I'd call the entrepreneurial economy or the digital economy. Both of these economies are kind of coexisting. One's going like that, one's going like that. And if you want to be economically successful, you need to stand next to the biggest piles of money that you can. Unfortunately, being a poet doesn't pay a lot of money, and we all know that. That's not a surprise. If you came from a very rich family and you were a poet, you'd probably be one of the 60% who fell out of a rich family as well. If you want to be economically successful, you need to say, what is the thing that's economically booming right now? Gary saw the finance industry at that particular time, but if we actually look at the finance industry now, it's in decline, and trading is being replaced by AI robots. People who worked in your career are going to be replaced by IT systems that basically do similar jobs. It's going to be, these things happen. We're going through a massive technological change. But at the same time, it's never been easier to learn skills for free on YouTube. It's never been easier to join communities where you can get mentoring and get support. There are communities of angel investors who do invest in startups. It's never been cheaper or easier to start a company. There's never been more software and technology to scale and grow. In a short space of time, I would say do what Gary's done. Gary publishes online. He's built a personal brand. He's attached.
There he is. True. Gary is. He is the entrepreneur brain. He does. That is true.
to a recurring revenue model. He's
Yeah,
got.
I also work for free for 4 years.
got-
So I'm not sure how replicable that is.
You work what? Excuse me. You said you had a book. Your YouTube channel's not making any revenue. You've got AdSense turned off there, bro. Seriously? Are you sure?
A recurring revenue model. He's
Yeah,
got.
I also work for free for 4 years.
got-
So I'm not sure how replicable that is.
You know, so build a personal brand.
Does he have like a, hold on, what is he pushing for products? Gary, what's his name? Economist, kill me. Oh, Gary Economics.
Welcome to Gary.
Does he try to sell anything here? Oh, we've got a Patreon, so that's not free. I don't know what's on his website. We've got 2 books that are being sold right here. I'm assuming these are both his, right? Yep. Or is it one book? Oh, a UK and a US version. Okay. That's some good viewership. Does he have ads turned off? I think I have YouTube Premium, so I wouldn't be able to see him. I'm sure he's running ads on these. Oh, okay. Hold on. Have we hidden the... Oh, no. 2,200 paid members, and the minimum one is $5 a month? That's his minimum. £5? Is there another website that shows you? I don't know why I don't need to do this times 5. It's like 12,000 a month minimum. 12,000 a month just on the Patreon, not including the I mean, he's earning probably mid 6 figures at least, I think, on the YouTube channel. Look, his viewership is good. So he most likely meant when he was starting, he worked for free. Okay. I mean, everybody works for free when they're starting, but whatever.
Brand, attach it to a business model that is where money's flowing. These are positive things you can do. We all have to play the cards we're dealt. You can always find someone who's done better with better cards, or someone who's been dealt better cards, and you can always find someone who's been dealt worse cards. No matter who you are on the planet, there's someone better, there's someone worse. You have to play the cards that you're dealt. You cannot sit around waiting for the economic system of the world to be changed. You have to say, you know what? These are the cards I was born at this particular time, in these circumstances. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. I'm going to play the cards that I've dealt. Personal agency is what gets people to feel good about their life, to make progress. And as soon as you play the victim mindset, as soon as you say, oh, you know what? The answer to all my prayers is Gary's going to change the system, you're in serious trouble.
Can I just say one thing back on that? If we become a society of individuals who think only individually and never consider broader societal problems, we will become a society that becomes unable to fix societal problems.
Damn, he got him.
I'm somebody who has made millions of pounds betting on the collapse of society, the collapse of the middle class.
You've said that like 50 million times, we know.
I don't want to be giving stock tips on the Titanic, okay? I understand that we live in individualized societies and it's not popular to say, hey, you need to protect your society. If you don't protect your society is going to collapse. And the British public, the American public, have a choice to make here.
What would that
I'm here
look
to protect
like?
these
What do
viewers.
you want people to do?
Yes.
I want them to get involved with watch my channel,
What is-
subscribe to my
so what's your
channel.
content?
Subscribe to me and make me money. That's the way to save society. Yes. Shameless.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Share it with your friends. Share it with your mum.
Okay, but then what? But then what?
Oh my
And then
God.
push for change. Push for
What
change. like our
change?
grandparents did.
But what
Push the
what change?
politicians
So
to
vote-
tax
what
working
change?
people less and tax extremely wealthy wealth holders
How?
more.
So vote for the Greens.
Vote for whoever gives you that. Whoever gives you
So
your
he has nothing. He's not. He's. It is such a grift. I hate all these people, bro. Kill me. Why is everybody on the left like this? At least if he was a right-leaning guy, he'd be like, vote for Donald Trump. Do you see what I mean? Dude, how did the left attract the greediest motherfuckers on the planet? Holy shit, everybody over here. The right should be ashamed at how bad they are at capitalism compared to the people on the far left. They're actually so ineffective when it comes to these insane grifters that occupy my side of the political sphere. They put him to shame, dude. Oh my fucking God. He doesn't even give a fuck who you vote for. He just wants you to buy his shit.
share of the pie.
So basically-
Listen, this is not football, okay?
No,
I'm not here,
but
Gary
I'm saying-
Stevenson,
but-
member of the Green Party.
but ultimately-
I'm here to protect the working class.
So that's their that would be their social and sort of political energy would be to stand up and fight. But in their personal lives, are you telling them to start businesses, take big risks, work really hard, go for it because they can also
You
make
know, I would defer to you guys on that. You know, I'm not a businessman. I'm an economist. Yeah, that's what I am.
Okay, so you're not going to give him personal advice. You're not going to tell them what kind of people they should vote for. You're just here to protect the working class by having people buy your shit. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
You know, I made my money by being an economist. I'm a very, very good economist. My predictions.
Your money wasn't made, well, I mean, unless he's trying to be cute by saying that. You work in finance, not economics, but whatever.
will be right. People can go and watch my predictions. At the beginning of COVID, I predicted the entire COVID crisis exactly correctly in May 2020. You know, this is, you know, I'm good at this. And listen,
Then you should have billions of dollars to show for it. You shouldn't have to be hawking a Patreon and a fucking book. You should be a multi-billionaire if you called it all 100% correctly and were confident in those calls.
I'm never going to come here and say I'm a better businessman than you.
Are you mad because he protects us, the working class, and not you? No, why would you say that? I enslave foreign labor, motherfucker. He'll never be able to save people like August, whose families are held hostage in other countries that I grind to their bones.
And I'm pretty sure that I'm not. I'm a very, very, very good economist. This will happen.
Is there something that I can do if I'm sat here listening at home? I understand everything you said. I believe everything you said.
Yes. What you can do is you can get involved by buying my shit and subscribe and just, you know, protect the workers, bro. He's asking this question like a second time. Let's see if he gets a better answer.
I believe that it's going to get worse for me.
Yeah.
Do you think I should still take responsibility of my situation and fight to make my life
I'm not here to
richer,
give personal
better,
advice, bro.
100%.
Okay.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
100.
He says take responsibility. Good job. Got him.
100%. Because you know, and I'm sure you know, if you're average British or American, if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to turn the heating on. You have to do it. You have to do it. And I've never once, I think my opinions are often mischaracterized as being anti-ambition. You've read my book. Do you think I'm anti-ambition?
No.
I work my tits off to make money, and I want every single young person in this country to be able to make money if they want to, if that's what they want to work towards. But we've created a society where it's almost impossible for young... Listen, I've been there. I've been at LSE. I've been at Oxford. I've been in the city. I've been in the media. I've been in politics. All of the guys at the top are a bunch of rich idiots. We are not allowed...
Wait, has he worked in politics? Did he hold an office or anything? Or?
allowing these smart kids from ordinary backgrounds to get into those spaces. Why do we pretend we're not doing that? We know we're doing
I
that.
disagree with that. You're talking about two types of elite spaces. Elite space of elite universities.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the elite space of derivatives trading. There's the real economy,
Yeah.
where entrepreneurs do their work. Then there's the first derivative, which is the banking system. And then there's the second derivative, which is rates traders like yourself, right? These are places that normal people don't want to end up. Most normal people who grow up in normal households don't wake up one day and say, I want to be a rates trader on a double derivative of the economy making bets. Most people want to start a business that employs people and they want to grow that business and be successful.
Do you think that starting a business is a realistic high success probability chance of ordinary poor people becoming rich?
I know that economies thrive when entrepreneurs are active, and it's not just the entrepreneurs. They create
Is that a thing
opportunity.
that our viewers can do, and most of them will end up rich?
You only need 1% to improve the whole economy.
There's a really interesting stat that says globally around 65% of ultra high net worth individuals are self-made.
What? Did he work in politics means don't listen to this guy because he isn't in politics? Why say that? No, what? I just asked because the guy said he was in politics, and I didn't know he had any office or anything. I just didn't know what he meant when he said he worked in politics. Just asking. What do you meant by that?
Approximately 19% primarily inherited their wealth, and about 16% inherited wealth but significantly grew it through their own ventures. So 65% of the ultra high net worth individuals globally are self-made. Does that not mean that if I want to become an ultra high net worth person, it's going to come down to...
Listen, we are just come off the back of the golden age of capitalism, when ordinary people like my dad, I grew up in Ilford, it's in East London, it's a very immigrant area.
God, oh my God, all the stories, bro. Holy shit.
My friends I grew up with come from Pakistani, Indian immigrant backgrounds. They came over with nothing, they worked really hard, they made money, they had their own assets. We had a period where...
Wait, what?
person.
I grew up in Ilford, it's in East London, it's a very immigrant area. Most of my friends I grew up with come from Pakistani, Indian immigrant backgrounds. They came over with nothing, they worked really hard, they made money, they had their own assets.
Hold on. I thought he said in my job where I worked, nobody else was there from my background. There wasn't a single other person there. Nobody there was like me. Now he's saying he had a bunch of immigrant friends that all came from nothing that also worked and made money? Or does he mean they worked in other jobs and made money? That's a weird distinction to make. This guy fucking lies about everything, bro. Also, by the way, because I can see him, just like I can see you in chat, you fucking losers. Everybody that says they're poor growing up, they were all middle or upper middle class. This guy is no exception. Guaranteed. Fuck this guy.
Pakistani, Indian immigrant backgrounds. They came over with nothing, they worked really hard, they made money, they had their own assets. We had a period where ordinary people could make money and could make wealth. So obviously we are now in a period where there are rich people who made money during that period. But it's over now.
I'm seeing ordinary people making money all the time.
Okay, so you're telling our viewers they're idiots. Why are they not making money?
I'm not telling anyone they're an idiot. I'm saying
if it's that easy, okay, all right, fine. Go and buy Dan's book, read it, and become a millionaire. Because Dan thinks it's easy to become a millionaire by being an entrepreneur.
Jesus.
But I suspect, having not been an entrepreneur, that most of the people who've read your book are not millionaires.
Everything you've touched has turned to gold. You turned yourself to academia. You got an amazing qualification. You turned yourself to banking, you became $2 million a year. You turned yourself to being a writer, you become Sunday Times bestseller. You turn yourself to content creating, you get 800,000 followers. And now you sit there after all of that evidence and say, oh no, it's all over, guys. It's all I'm smart enough to do it, but you guys are not smart enough to do it.
If you think you can teach...
True! He got him there. He did get him. He did get him right there.
You've got your book. If you think you can
So you
teach
say that
people to do it-
you're smart enough, but they're not smart enough.
I wonder if we do have a bit of an education problem at the heart of this, because I was thinking about your sister, and I was like, right, if I was the CEO of Gary's sister, what would I do?
Yeah.
There's two things I do right now. The first is, okay, what marketplace is really valuing an ability to write?
What's wrong with trying to come together and address tax havens as a global community? When have I ever implied ever that there's anything wrong with that? What?
Right, and write in an impactful way. I go, right, you need to start an Instagram page, because I've seen what happened with Jay Shetty. This guy's pulling in tens of millions a year because he took nice words that were motivational, poetic, put them on there. And I go, also YouTube needs to get to YouTube, because if she can talk like you, then she's going to do exceptionally well on YouTube as well. But there's not going to be a great economy necessarily for someone who's doing poetry in many other places, other than what I'm saying is the internet. But in school, we don't teach this. There's no YouTube class for YouTube. And it's such a huge part of the economy. I mean, you have seen that. There's been this decentralization of media where the megaphone was
owned.
owned.
It's growing at 20% a year.
The megaphone was
People
owned.
watching, start a YouTube, become an entrepreneur.
But it's the internet, isn't it?
It's easy.
I'm not
Do you
saying
think
it's
it
easy.
works for most people, Stephen.
For most people, no, it doesn't work. It
there's
doesn't
an
work.
education
Why are
gap.
we pretending it does?
But what I would say is, if in school we taught young kids a couple of new things, and we stopped teaching them about Pythagoras' theorem, which by the way ChatGPT is going to do for you with your eyes closed, and we taught them about the new economy of the internet, about the ability to start a shop, and it's crazy that the school system was designed in such a way where they put me in exclusion unit because I was so preoccupied with doing business deals at school. And my headmaster came on national TV on What I Lied to You and said, yeah, we unexpelled him eventually because he made the school so much money. But the system was punishing me for entrepreneurship, and it wasn't teaching me anything about the new economy, which is technology.
Do you think it matters?
I think there's an argument to be made, and I think every art major ever has this issue at school, unless you go to a really good school, where you learn your art, you learn your art, but you don't learn the trade. And so this is how you wind up in music school. For me, you'll end up with people doing their senior recitals and getting performance degrees they can't gig, right? Or have never memorized 30 charts for playing at a bar or some shit, And I'm sure it's like this throughout all of the arts. You become an artist, and your teacher doesn't want to teach you how to draw comics or manga, which is like where your interest is, and instead you learn classical shit or whatever. Or maybe you have a good school and they teach you how to monetize your trade. But I know that for arts it's an issue. I'm sure that broadly speaking for schools, maybe we could orient them a little bit more towards like gainful skills that would help you, get jobs. But there's something to be said for boring general education that is probably just good, that everybody should have. Like, I know that it's not sexy to teach I was going to say a 3-year-old, a third grader, the Pythagoras theorem or whatever, or math stuff, or basic social studies or geography stuff. But I don't think we need to be teaching people at, pre-K, this is how to program so you can make an app for the iPad. And the kid's like, okay, well, I can't read. And it's like, that's okay. ChatGPT can read it to you. It's like, okay, I can't do any math also. Like, how do I do a 10% tip? Well, it's okay. ChatGPT can do it for you. Okay. Like, at that point, Jesus. I think it's okay to have a minimum level of education, but we can probably push people towards more marketable stuff or skill stuff or whatever, I guess.
Matters if the percentage of young people who are able to achieve financial freedom and have a family is shrinking.
So do I think it matters if the percentage of young people that are able to... Are you saying attain wealth and have a family?
Yeah, if I achieve financial freedom and have a family.
I think that's a really big problem.
Listen,
I think that's a really big problem.
I agree. I know. Listen, and I know you've got this podcast, and I know you inspire young people. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that you inspire young people to go out and work hard and try and achieve something.
Do the but.
But I'm an economist,
There you go.
and what I see is the percentage of young people who
He's
make
an
it shrinking.
economist, bro.
And I think if you combine those two things,
He's an
you reach a really
economist.
dangerous place, because we go and tell the young people it's there for you to start a business, and at the same time, the number of people who make it is 10%, 5%, 2%, 1%, and there will always be that one person who makes it. There will always be that Stephen Bartlett in every country in the world who's making it through. You know what I'm saying? But the systematic issue matters, Stephen.
Can we not change the education system so that when I was 16 and they threw me in the exclusion unit, which could so easily have made me think that I was a failure, because my brothers Jason went to LSE and became very much like you and now works in my company, managing my investments. He, in that education system, was rewarded. So I sat there as a kid thinking, rich and successful, my older brother Jason, because he can do maths. And I thought, I'm going to be a failure because I like this thing called entrepreneurship and I have ADHD, so I can't pay attention in lessons. What I'm saying is, if the education system was designed in such a way where people like me, who were entrepreneurial, who were interested in the internet and couldn't stop playing video games, were clapped for and said, oh my God, double down on that. I think the net benefit, when you think about what the backbone of the economy is, which is entrepreneurs starting businesses, would be profound for this country here. But I believe there needs to be such a radical overhaul of our education system if we want to stand a chance of capitalizing on what the economy is today.
I think I think you could probably change the education system in a lot of ways that could improve it, but you're kind of changing the education system on the Titanic. What my perspective is, I can tell you with a very, very high rate of certainty, if you don't fix
Just say, back to the slogans, yes.
this problem of the wealth being sucked out of the middle class, 95, 98% of people will be in poverty in this country in 70 years. You know
I
what mean?
agree with you. This is the thing. I agree that you can't have a group of people at the very top that own all the assets and all the money, or else, I mean, it's going to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that I printed off the job seekers allowance form when I was stealing Chicago Town pizzas 10 years ago in my room in Moss Side in Manchester. I remember what it feels like to not have my parents speaking to me, to have all these CCJ letters and bailiff letters on my desk, and really have no answer how to get out of the situation, to the point that I was like shoplifting. I'd call the Just Eat driver and then try and persuade him just to give me the food. That was 10 years ago for me. So I've not forgotten those years of my life. So I understand what it is to be in that situation. And on an individual level, I need some answers, because I'm not going to wait for these people in fucking the parliament to fix my life for me. So I need some individual answers. And then I do also care about the bigger picture. So I'm not like here as someone that just wants to accrue loads of wealth myself. Of course, listen, let's be honest. There's not many human beings that wouldn't like more money. So I try and acknowledge that bias. But what the big issue I have is how. And from my personal experience, as someone that now employs hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people here in London, up in Manchester, in our offices, there are a set of things that would make me leave.
At Pierce, no, when it comes to the Israel thing, Destiny's stand is it's complicated, and peace over there is going to be difficult to be achieved. Just as Gary says it's going to be difficult, the issues. What? Why would you even make that comparison? Except I can give you I can give you solid things that both sides would have to be willing to negotiate on, and then we can start from there. When I say it's difficult, I say it's difficult because there are things that neither side might be willing to give up. But I can go into multiple things on each side, what the sacrifices would have to be, what I think they'd be willing to give up, what they probably need to be willing to give up, and like the barriers to giving those things up. Like I walk through all of these. Gary says it's difficult because he has no policies in mind whatsoever. If Gary would have suggested something, said, we really need to do this, but it's really hard, and there's going to be like these issues, and we're going to have to overcome this, then fine, sure. But why would you pretend that my saying that the Israel-Palestinian solution is difficult is the same as him saying, I have nothing to...
This country, if it became increasingly less friendly to entrepreneurs. I reckon if we come back here in 5 years' time, I reckon I'll employ 500 more people in the UK. And actually, as you look around this room, you can see the age of them. These are young people.
Yeah.
There are things you could do to make me not do that.
I mean, it's probably worth pointing out that we're not taxing wealth, and you're leaving the country anyway, Stephen.
No, I haven't left the country.
Okay, you're going to stay.
I'm a tax resident here. I pay my taxes here. I have zero intent in changing that. I'm also on Jack, so we're...
And see, this guy on the left, God, he said he's not even, I don't even know what his political alignment is, right? Like, you're employing people here. Like, he should ask, how many of you guys went to school, right? My guess is most of them are raising hand. Or how many of you guys had computers or had food or whatever? Like, there's an argument to be made that providing a bare level of services to your citizens increases the general level of productivity of them such that you can even employ people in this country, right? There's an argument to be made for the, there's an argument to be made for, no man is an island, no business is an island. You need this minimum investment in your citizens and in your country in order to thrive as a successful person, because you're relying on this base level education to even have a base of employees to draw from, right?
We're investing a lot of money in UK businesses.
Yeah. But listen, I want to tax only high levels of wealth. Only high levels of wealth. And listen, don't get me wrong, I understand very rich people will complain, and very rich people will say, just like they did in Dickens, I'm going to throw my businesses, I'm going to throw my taxes, my businesses and my factories into the sea. Stephen, your viewers are here. Listen, Stephen, your viewers are here. You are a very wealthy person. They are paying 20, 30, 40, 50%. You should be paying your fair share, Stephen. You should.
I think that I should pay more tax, especially when... I don't think my kids should benefit from my wealth. And maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I actually don't.
Based.
I don't think I should be able to pass down.
That's a base take. Hell yeah. True. Fuck inheritance. Listen, if your kid is a wealthy parent, that's right, Nathan, get ready. I'm going to burn all my cash. If you have a wealthy set of parents or a wealthy single parent, you should be able to learn enough from them to figure your shit out, all right? Fuck mom and dad's money. True and based.
My assets to my children.
You can't. It's 40% tax.
I think it should be more.
It's 40, yeah.
Let's not pretend rich people don't successfully pass their assets to their children.
I'm just telling you now. Yeah. I think I'd be robbing my children of something from the background that I came from. If my child gets gets tens of millions, let's say, even when I die, I don't think that should happen.
But I agree. People say, when I talk about my sister, people are like, why don't you just give your sister a load of money? Listen, my sister works hard. She's a
Wait, he's actually going to address this? Your sister, who barely can make rent, by the way, that you said works hard, can barely make rent while you're a multi-millionaire or whatever. Okay, let's hear it. Yeah.
Smart person, she works hard. I talk about my sister. People are like, why don't you just give your sister a load of money? Listen, my sister works hard. She's a smart person. She works hard. She produces good work. I want to live in a society where people like my sister are able to support themselves with the work that they do, but we're destroying that society.
Who would pay her?
Yeah, You said shit is hard, bro. Wait, why can't he help his sister? Why does he hate his sister so much? What the fuck?
The customers, you know, the
So
situation.
you want her to start a business?
She is a business.
So she's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want people like her to be taxed less. So that what I want is ordinary working people to be taxed less, so they have more money in their pocket. Listen, the reason we had the thriving art scene in the '60s is because we had a thriving middle class that could go and buy the new fashions and buy the new records, and then that created this thriving art scene. Now we have a middle class which is struggling to pay the bills, so they can't buy stuff. You know, my sister makes theatre shows. The only people who go to the theatre are rich people now. But back in the day, you know, theatre was something that was more accessible. You want the arts. I've got a mate who's a fashion designer, right? Nowadays, there's all of the business is super fast, super cheap, super disposable fashion, or unbelievably expensive high end, because that's the economy we've created. You go to Japan, which is a less unequal society.
Wait, what? Hold on. I'm sorry. What did you say?
There are rich people now. But back in the day, you know, theatre was something that was more accessible. You want the arts. I've got a mate who's a fashion designer, right? Nowadays, there's all of the business is super fast, super cheap, super disposable fashion, or unbelievably expensive high end, because that's the economy we've created. You go.
Well, I feel like clothes are the worst. I feel like there's so many. Maybe it's just because I hate clothes. I feel like there's so many fucking clothes for all income levels. You can buy cheap shit at fucking Target or Walmart, or you can go to there's a fuck ton of mid-tier stores. I guess your Uniqlos and your Lululemons and your Superdry or whatever the fuck else. And you've got your super designer shit or your upper. I feel like there's such a huge range of clothes to buy. Maybe that's just an American thing. Oh my God. Yeah, big box stores, your H&Ms, your TJ Maxxes. I feel like there's so much of this shit.
Go to Japan, which is a less unequal society. The restaurants are good quality restaurants for ordinary people, because a good capitalist society will produce things for the people with money.
In the case of theatre, where have the theatre consumers moved to? Where are they getting their entertainment now?
Well, what you have is a very rich group of people who will still go to theatre and they will pay a lot. But then you have a large group of people who are relatively cash scarce and they will try to get their entertainment in cheaper ways. Of course, you know what I mean?
They're spending their time watching your YouTube channel.
Well, exactly, my YouTube channel, which is free, by the way.
Yeah, but you get paid from it. You get the YouTube
To be honest, it's only in the last
what did he say?
relatively cash scarce, and they will try to get their entertainment in cheaper ways. Of course, you know what I mean?
They're spending their time watching your YouTube channel.
Well, exactly, my YouTube channel, which is free, by the way.
Yeah, but you get paid from it. You get the YouTube.
To be honest, it's only in the last couple of months that I've started to make any money, because I don't do my own editing. So, and you know, I mean, you'll know, but in the first few years, you're paying yourself to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think people sometimes massively overestimate the amount of money.
This is entrepreneur.
Ask him how much money he makes. Please ask him. Wait. What is this? He's Gary Economics? Or is it Gary the Economist? Gary the Economist. Fuck. Is Social Blade down still? Oh, Gary's Economics. Jesus. Holy. Does this guy do shorts? Or are these all legitimate long-form views? 47 million views last month on this channel? This guy's making so much money. For how long, though? Maybe it's been relatively recent. It's 5 million. In this year, he will make over £1 million from this channel, guaranteed. Well, unless he falls off or stops working, I guess. Jesus.
As entrepreneurs go through 2, 3, 4, 5 years worth of struggle to get to the point where they're successful. And it feels pretty horrific that you say, oh, finally, when I make it, you take it. And then the advisors to entrepreneurs...
Just £10 million is quite a lot of money. So, you know, you can be worth £9 million and not be paying anything more.
But what if I just raise 1 million for investment into my company?
Yeah.
But that then, like I do, if I'm raising money all the way along, and my investors are saying, I'm sorry, I don't invest in the UK economy because it's wealth taxes and all that sort of stuff. It's anti-wealth, and then I just have to move my company overseas.
Well, I want to create a situation where the UK consumer is so strong that you have to.
He just has
You don't
nothing.
have to be here to sell to them.
If you're looking to take the next step in your tech career, you'll want to hear about our sponsor, Intuit. I've always believed that if you want to do your best work, you have to put yourself in the right environment. You want to work with the best. You want to work with the best technologists who are leading innovation with data and AI. And this is what you can expect at Intuit. They're growing their tech careers, building an AI-driven expert platform that connects people to all the money they deserve. The cutting-edge tech they are developing in products like TurboTax, Credit Karma, QuickBooks, and MailChimp are helping around 100 million customers and businesses put more money in their pockets. Having a mission-driven...
Chad, what was the finance guy that Destiny watched? The other guy talking about Tesla. Help. Atrioc. Atrioc. He's a good YouTuber. Watch him.
driven culture is something I really align with because it's all about solving complex customer problems with rapid experimentation to move faster. Quite similar to the culture I want to foster at my companies. If this sounds like you and you want to grow your tech career working alongside the best, check out intuit.com/careers. They also offer hybrid work and a very inclusive culture with offices in Atlanta, New York, San Diego, the Bay Area, Toronto, and around the world. Head over to intuit/careers to explore their opportunities.
Let's go.
Quick one, I want to talk to you about our sponsor, Whoop, a business I'm also an investor in. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably noticed that recently I've picked up running, which I'm very much enjoying. And it started out as a challenge, but it's now evolved into something I do almost daily. It is one of those things that's pushing me to be better every single day. But here's the thing, to me, progress isn't just about pushing harder, it's also about training in a smarter way, which is where my Whoop comes in. Whoop doesn't just track my workouts, it tells me how ready my body is to take them on before I've even started the workout. A few years ago, Whoop ran a study called Project PR, and it found that runners who adjusted their training based on their recovery scores improved their 5K times by an average of 2 minutes and 40 seconds while reducing injury risk by over 30%. And they did it while training less. So if you're looking for this type of guidance when it comes to your training, head over to join.whoop.com/CEO
I got an Apple Ultra Watch.
and get a 30-day trial with zero commitment. That's join.whoop.com/CEO. Let me know how you get on. So do we all agree on this premise though that Gary's saying, which is the ultra rich, which we can classify as being worth more than you're saying?
We say 10 million is the line that we campaign for.
Okay, we think that they should pay a greater share of the tax. And then if you agree with that premise, the question then becomes, yes, but how?
Yeah,
and what's the
well, they already do. 1% pay 30%.
I want to be clear, that's the top 1% of tax.
Can we just please say, oh my God, is he about to say the dumbest thing ever? He's about to say the dumbest thing ever. There's a good counter to that, and it's the top 1% pay 30%. What are their earnings? What is the share of earnings they have? Or what is the share of wealth that they have? Wealth is less strong, but you can maybe still argue. What is the share of earnings they have? Like, say that. He's about to say something so stupid. I already know what he's going to say. He's going to say, that's the people, that's the top percent of earners. That's the top percent, or no, he's going to say, that's the top percent of taxpayers. But what about the ones that don't pay taxes, that aren't counted in that number, which is like probably nothing. Like, I seriously doubt there are that many people that show zero income in any way. That's what he's about to say. He's actually about to say it. I can't believe he's going to say it. He's not going to say that. He's going to say something else. Sorry. I shouldn't have cut him off. He's going to say something that's incredibly not that stupid, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, they already do. 1% pay 30%.
I want to be clear, that's the top 1% of taxpayers, which is not the top 1% of richest people.
Well, mind you, I'm also not necessarily saying what's fair. I'm saying what's practically possible, right? So, like, you could come up with the world's most fair on the back of a napkin.
Are there all these like ultra rich people that just don't pay any taxes at all? They're just like hidden from society. What?
It's what's fair. But whether you can implement it is a very difficult thing. The problem is wealth is completely mobile now. It's really, you can live and work from anywhere.
It's the houses, Dan.
Yeah.
It's land. Is that mobile? You
Do you think the majority of ultra wealthy people have their wealth tied up in their house? What are you talking about?
The country out of the sea.
There's very few. I've never met any seriously wealthy people who own a lot of houses.
You honestly think that the entire housing stock of the UK is not valuable?
Yeah, no, it is.
What does that have to do with anything that is not valuable? What?
But
somebody owns it.
78% is owned by baby boomers. They just own. They've bought a house in 1992 and they own the house.
Personally, I think that house ownership, especially when you consider mortgages, is relatively unequally distributed. That is, by the way, the most equally distributed.
It is unequally distributed. Yes. Old people own more of it. Yes, it is unequally distributed.
People have now had
the commercial property, the land, the natural resources.
Owned by pension funds.
So the viewers own it, do they?
No, they're owned by, if they own a pension fund, most of those commercial
and what
properties.
is the distribution of pensions?
If you have a look at
Oh my God, this guy has so many questions. He doesn't know anything about what he's talking about.
Distribution of pensions. What percentage of pensions is owned by the top 1%?
I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but with pensions. But I know that obviously.
Do the top 1% even make a lot of their money through pensions? I legitimately don't know. Are there like ultra wealthy pension schemes? I would imagine their money comes from like capital investment and shit, not pensions. Maybe there's special pensions for rich people. I don't know.
Wealth concentrates at the top. But here's the one thing to keep in mind. Wealthy group are not necessarily a static group. There was a study of the richest people in 1900, and most of those families are poor today, or they've gone down in value today. If the richest people in 1900 had have just simply kept their wealth, there'd be 16,000 more billionaires. But they don't. In wealth management, in banks, they have this thing called the succession planning. So succession planning is where they try and figure out how not to screw it up across generations. And they're notoriously bad at it. It's very hard to keep wealth in generations.
Down in the 20th century, we had 2 world wars and
do the slogans. Back to the slogans.
Holocaust. That redistributed wealth. I would prefer not to have that again.
Yeah.
What the fuck? well, I think that if we just tax people less and everybody becomes an entrepreneur, everybody can be an entrepreneur. And if everybody's an entrepreneur, like the lady in Uganda that I knew, she was an entrepreneur, then we'll be fine. You want everybody to be an entrepreneur? In what? Making gas chambers? And then the host is like, this is what you can learn on YouTube when it comes to economics. End scene.
Wealth in generations.
Down in the 20th century, we had 2 world wars and a Holocaust. That redistributed wealth. I would prefer not to have that again.
Yeah. I'm with you. I want.
I'm with you. I'm anti-Holocaust as well. Shit, I didn't know that was the stakes. I didn't know that's what we were arguing about right now. Yeah, I just wanted. Let me be clear. I am anti-Holocaust. Yes.
Middle class.
He's like, oh fuck, I didn't expect him to pull out. I didn't know he researched my background. He got my fucking my ICQ chat logs from 25 years ago where I was doing the Holocaust economics argument. Jesus.
So where's the wealth going to come from? You're going to create it, are you?
Entrepreneurship.
Okay, we'll create it.
Did he just say, wait, did he just say, where's the wealth going to come from? Are you just going to create it? Yeah, where do you think wealth comes from? What, is there a fixed amount of wealth that we just dig out of the earth? Wait, he didn't say that. I'm sorry, I misheard. Hold on.
I would prefer not to have that again.
Yeah. I'm with you. I want an affluent middle class. I really do.
So where's the wealth going to come from? You're going to create it, are you?
Entrepreneurship.
This is the last one, okay? No more debates with Fabian. No more videos from the Gary economics guy. Please don't let me do this again. I'm so sorry. We wasted the last half today. We're not. Never again.
Entrepreneurship.
Okay, we'll create it.
Economies that are friendly towards.
Oh, we're gonna create more wealth. We're just gonna make it out of nothing.
Creation and entrepreneurship.
When was the last time you had a government that wasn't let's grow? Right, it's not working for the people, Daniel.
No, the problem is that they need to step back. They need to let shrink.
Our viewers should keep a close eye on Donald Trump and Elon Musk because they're doing what you're asking.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, right? It's too soon to tell.
If you were trying to grow the UK economy, would you not take America's approach? Because they seem to be much more successful at growing their economy.
Of course, when we talk about slashing of the state, they're going to use these examples like, oh, there's this wasteful government building. Everybody wants to slash government waste. Of course, I'm not going to fight against slashing government waste. I'm from the UK. I saw the austerity years.
God, this guy, there's got to be a name for this bullshit ass style of speaking. Do people just not realize it? This, like, what would you do to save children dying of cancer? Well, for cancer, doctors need to be empowered more. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and where I grew up, you could hear the cows every single night. It's like, okay, well, how would we increase investments in hospitals? Well, we got to get people to invest more money into hospitals. I know this because I rode a bike every day. I'm from Nebraska, and we grew up poor in Nebraska. And if I didn't have my bike, I wouldn't have been able to hear the cows mooing. It's like every question this guy gets, he answers 10% of it, and then he just jumps into the most retarded, pointless anecdote that he's already repeated 50 million times. He's like Rubio against Christie in the 2016 primaries.
I'm not going to fight against slashing government waste. I'm from the UK. I saw the austerity years. I've seen what's happened to local services. I've seen what's happened to things like the police, like education. Especially things like youth services.
We didn't forget in the 5 minutes since you said it last that you're from the UK. We know, bro. We know. We got it.
You slash the state, you fire a load of people, what does the state, okay, yeah, if you can get rid of state corruption, yes, 100%. If you can get rid of state waste, 100%, this is how single mums feed their kids, Stephen. You want to stop that?
No.
You want a bloody Holocaust, mate? Do you want to Holocaust the hungry kids, Stephen? You're like, no, I guess not. Fuck. No, you're right. Nope.
Slashing the state, I don't think it's going to work. To be honest, I think tariffs is not an uninteresting discussion. I think, yeah, of course, tax avoidance is something you need to get rid of. Really, I would like to take a step back, look at the country and say, what is the state of the country? What do people need? We have a country here where the housing stock is falling apart and we're letting it fall apart because those houses are owned by ordinary people who don't have any money. If you want the country to work for ordinary people, you need ordinary people to have money. I'm always reminded of Mr. Beast. He goes to places in Africa and he spends 500 quid and he gives a kid eyesight who would have been blind for the rest of their life for 500 quid. Why are kids in Africa blind who could be given sight for 500 quid? Because they don't have any money. This is what happens when you drain your middle class. This will end up...
When you drain your middle class, kids in Africa can't afford eye surgery? Wait, what the fuck? The thriving African middle class that got drained by wealth inequality? Jesus, what are we even talking about right now? Hello?
Like that. I've got a friend who went to India last week. He said there were people lying on the street outside with rotting limbs You know, that is what happens when you disempower, when you take the money away from the middle class. You've got to protect the middle class. If the middle class had money, then there would be unbelievable business opportunities for selling goods and services like your business to the middle class.
So would you tax Daniel more?
I don't know if Daniel's worth more than £10 million. It sounds like he is.
He is.
I mean, I want to make it clear, right? You make 5% on your wealth. So if Daniel's worth 100 million, he's making £5 million. We're only trying to tax you 1%. I think if you are worth 100 million on your wealth, it's like he is.
He is.
I mean, I want to make it clear, right? You make 5% on your wealth. So if Daniel's worth 100 million, he's making £5 million. We're only trying to tax you 1%. I think if you are worth 100 million, you're making £5 million passive income, you can afford to pay £1 million tax a year. You're going to still keep getting rich. The truth.
So you're just talking about an ordinary ass capital gains tax? This is a thing that I'm sure, I don't know, I haven't looked, but I'm guessing in the UK you guys have a capital gains tax, right? And also 1 million? So you want a 20% tax rate when you're earning $1 million? That's probably significantly low. Well, what are capital gains rates in the UK? What?
Truth is, even if we were to tax these billionaires 1% a year, they would still squeeze the rest out. This is not about morality. This is just cold, hard economic analysis that I have made a lot of money betting on.
So closing arguments then.
How? Also, I wish somebody would ask me, how did you make money betting on that extent? Hold on, wait. You said that billionaires squeeze out everything and you made money off that. Can you speak about how you made money off that? What do you mean by that? You made money off that.
I'll start with you, Gary. Yeah. Based on everything we've discussed today, I'm going to ask you to give me two perspectives, which is, if I'm a young individual in this country right now, what should I do to protect myself and my family and to feed my family? What kind of behaviors, what strategy should I adopt there? But also then from a government level, I know we have some politicians that listen because they message me. What should politicians be doing to fix the issue that we're all clearly identifying, which is the collapse of the middle class, the collapse of sort of working class people and the increased wealth of the rich?
I think what I would like young people to understand is that this gets worse. This gets much, much worse.
Bro, can you ever answer a question like a normal human being, please? Holy shit. Just answer it like an ordinary person. Just answer the question like a normal human being. I know you can do this. Without doomsdaying fucking everything. My God.
It will get much worse relatively quickly. Poverty will increase relatively quickly. It will become increasingly difficult, almost impossible to make any serious money. Prepare yourself for that. Prepare yourself when you consider your finances, when you consider your plans for having a family. This gets worse and it's going to be really, really hard. It's going to be a big mental health problem for a lot of young people. So speak to people and understand that. My YouTube videos
are there.
Therapy? Economics for people to understand what's happening.
Oh, it's his YouTube. We just got to subscribe to his YouTube. That's the suggestion. Okay, thank you.
Family. This gets worse and it's going to be really, really hard. It's going to be a big mental health problem for a lot of young people. So speak to people and understand that. My YouTube videos are there. Gary's Economics for people to understand what's happening. After that, you've got to do all the right things. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. You've got to work hard. You've got to study the right things. I think it's a great shame we have made subjects like the arts a thing which you're not allowed. If you come from a poor background, you cannot work in arts. I'm sorry, you can't pay the bills. You can't. So you have to go and study AI and computing and maybe social media. Although we have to be honest, social media doesn't pay for most people. You have to realize the reality of your situation. It's very, 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 very bad.
Doomer.
That doesn't mean you don't work. That doesn't mean you don't aspire.
If you're not going to subscribe to my YouTube, you might as well just kill yourself.
You work damn hard because you have to. But if you manage to make enough money to even support family, you should be proud of yourself. That's the number one thing. But recognize this can be changed. This can be changed. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents fought for a bigger share of the pie and they got it. They got healthcare, they got education, they got housing, they got food. Our young people can have that as well.
How?
But they won't get it unless they fight for it. So I would encourage people to
subscribe to my YouTube,
educate themselves,
by subscribing to my YouTube.
Work, get involved politically,
yes.
But also work hard, support your friends and family. Try and make money because you'll have to. If you don't play politics, I guarantee you the other side will play politics. And that means your kids and your grandkids live in poverty. So you have to do both. With regards to politicians, I've got mixed feelings about a lot of politicians. The truth is, I think a lot of politicians are very rich and ultimately they don't care. They're protected.
Wow.
A crisis of inequality looks fantastic from the top. And I think that's why the three of us can sit here and say things will be fine. Because for us, they will be fine. And for our kids, they will be fine. But for our viewers' kids, they won't be fine. The politicians are not going to try and save you. I'm going to try and make sure they do it, but I don't think they will. Listen, my plan is not to get concessions from politicians. My plan is to get 5 million followers on the internet and bully the politicians so that they have to give us.
At least he's honest. Listen, motherfuckers, I'm here for the goddamn followers, okay? That's the only reason I'm here, motherfuckers. So like and subscribe. Thank you.
What we need. So I would support people to get behind me, get behind my campaign, but also understand what's happening, educate your friends and your family, and just crucially to understand this is going to be a long fight. So be strong, keep your people around you,
subscribe to my YouTube,
but be ready for what's to come.
I see hints in some of the things you've said recently of you going into politics yourself at some point?
Stephen, I'm in politics.
But
I'm
I
in
mean,
politics.
actively.
Listen, I do not want to be an MP. I do not want to be Chancellor. I do not want to be Prime Minister.
Oh, because you
If
have
we
to
get to a
actually
point
do
where I
something.
feel that that is something that is achievable and
Okay.
it's the best way to fix this problem, I will be open to it. This is not plan A. This is not, would you like to be Prime Minister?
No
I
fucking
suspect
thanks.
probably not, right? Like, this is, I'll be honest, I am quite uncomfortable with even the level of public profile that I have at the moment, which is, it's much less than what you have, but it's
I'm uncomfortable with it, but my whole fucking life is geared around trying to increase it. Okay, dude.
stresses me out. It's weird we spoke about it.
Do you think, regardless of being a grifter, his statements are harming or helping better causes? They're hurting. All these types of statements where you just, because what he's doing is he's I don't know how you guys understand this. It's like Bane. Like, do you think that Bane was wrong in The Dark Knight Rises when he said, "Oh, the rich are stealing from you, and oh, we're going to give the city to the people," blah, 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 right? Bane was hurting. Why was Bane hurting? It's because he came in, he capitalized on the individual, he capitalized on the rage, I guess, of the population, and then he used it for his own personal enrichment. And at the end of the day, nobody got helped until Batman, the capitalist, came and saved the day. There's nothing, he's just wasting space. Like, instead of people having conversations about what can we do to actually improve society, to actually reduce income inequality, to actually provide better economic opportunities to people in the working class, to actually try to bridge this divide that we have between rural and city, between educated and uneducated, between people a part of the new economy that the middle dude identified, and the older economy of the industrial age, where you didn't need a college degree and didn't know how to use a fucking iMac in order to compete in this world, right? How do we do these things? We don't talk about that. We talk about subscribing to this fucking retard's YouTube channel and then whatever other random virtue signaling bullshit he wants to get into. It's just a waste of time. It's rhetorical pollution. Somebody said in DGG chat.
About it before we were shooting. I don't want to, can you imagine? I don't want to be Prime Minister. I don't want to be an MP. But I'm serious about this work that I do. And if we reach a point that I think that is the best way to do it, I will consider it. But I would much rather be able to influence the MPs from the sidelines, to influence the politicians from the sidelines.
And for that person you just gave advice to, who should they be voting for?
Well, we don't have an election for... Listen, politics is not football. Politics is not football, okay? This is not about I'm Labour, I'm Conservative, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat. You're losing your houses here. You're losing your houses. Your kids will be in poverty. And you're going to see both Trump and the Republicans and Keir Starmer and Labour, who are supposed to be on the opposite side of the political spectrum, they will both fail because they will not take action on growing wealth inequality. And I'll be right on that. Bring me back in a few years, I'll be right on that. And that shows you it's not about... I think this factionalism is unbelievably damaging to our societies, especially in the US, where there's so much hatred behind it, where suddenly I'm on this side, you're on that side. Look, we're going to shake hands after this. I've got nothing wrong. We will, there's no hatred here. But if you allow yourself to be divided from half of your country, and we're seeing it, growing tensions, racial tensions, gender tensions. If you allow yourself to be divided, they will win. They will win. So you need to vote for whoever is going to protect your houses. And if you want to know who that is, come and check Gary's Economics before the election, and I will tell you who it's going to be.
Okay, brave. Thank you.
Daniel.
Nice.
Closing arguments, personal and social.
A few things. I read Gary's book and it's brilliant. And regardless of whether you actually like economics, it's a brilliant story. It's a really good. I read it in about 2 or 3 days. And it'll eventually be a good movie as well. I agree with a lot of what Gary's saying. There is a collapse of the middle class, and it probably will get worse. And the traditional middle class jobs that came out of the back of the industrial age, mature industrial revolution system, the tradition is a collapse of the middle class, and it probably will get worse. And the traditional middle class jobs that came out of the back of the industrial...
Wait, am I crazy or did the color of my light just change? Am I having a schizo moment? The temperature of my light to my right?
age, mature industrial revolution system, those are collapsing, and it's globalizing. We're seeing technology move opportunities all over the world. And wealth inequality, it has a cause. Wealth inequality itself is a scoreboard, and there's a cause for what led up to wealth inequality. And the cause, in my mind, is technology. Technology is moving those opportunities around, and it's changing things. We already have big governments. We have huge amounts of taxes. We're at record levels of taxes. Wealth has never been more...
Oh, something dimmed on YouTube.
Mobile.
Okay.
It's not about what's fair. It's about what you can practically get away with. It's about what you can actually implement. And it's going to be very, very, as Gary said, it's going to be very, very, very hard to tax people who have digital businesses, who can live and work from anywhere. I know that firsthand, that it's incredibly mobile. With that said, at a macro level, big picture, we do know that there is a correlation between economic freedom, where the government gets out of your way, and low poverty rates. And we know that as soon as governments become big, high taxes, high regulations, it actually drops down a category, and we see poverty goes up from 10% to 30%, so it triples. So constricting economic freedom is never a good idea if you look at the data. At a micro level, there's never been a greater opportunity for anyone who's ambitious and entrepreneurial to go and start a company. It's cheaper than ever to start a company. You can do what Gary's done, which is publish content, build a following, figure out how to monetize it, You can create products and services and sell them to anywhere in the world. You're an example of someone who started with nothing and became a millionaire in your 20s and then again in your 30s with a completely different thing. He became a millionaire in his 20s and then again in his 30s. He's a best-selling author and a content creator. I did it in my 20s, my 30s, and now my 40s, starting from scratch. So it's not normal that 3 guys our age could have done that over and over again. It's because we are living in a time where there is incredible opportunities, but you have to be tapped into those opportunities. You never heard about it at school. You never heard about it at university. You're going to have to learn the skills to get tapped into those opportunities. But there are definitely ways that you can succeed in the world that we're living in.
Plugged the
And on
fuck
that macro
in.
point, who should we be voting for? Because some of your thinking and policy suggestions through this conversation align more with Trump, Elon, the American mission now, where they're welcoming millionaires. They're trying to create a really entrepreneurship-friendly environment. They're doing the Doge.
And now for the, I don't even have a shred of respect left for that middle guy, but now is where he endorses Trump and Trump's policies. Yes.
Handling of sort of government waste.
I agree with Gary. It's not football. You don't have a team. You swing. You should be a swing voter. You should vote every single election. You should make them work hard for your vote. And
Is Trump going to succeed, though?
You should. It's too soon to tell.
But he made a prediction, so I'm inviting you to make a prediction. He said 5 years time we come back here, we're going to see that Trump.
I think a lot of very wealthy people are going to move to the USA. You're going to get a lot of people from all over the world. He's playing to win, and he wants rich people and entrepreneurs and investors to come into the US and be based there. He's creating golden visas and open visas.
And the success.
Oh yeah, those golden visas. Yeah, you definitely got to pay $5 million for a U.S. fucking citizenship. Yeah, absolutely.
The metric here is the middle class get richer and more affluent.
And what I actually think will happen as a result of all of that, you will see rising living standards in the USA, and you'll see a detriment to the places where those people live. It's not a good thing to have the people who pay the majority of the taxes, which is 1% of people paying 30% of taxes. If those people leave, the bills get spread across everybody else.
Well, we'll have to do a part 2, and we shall see. I want to thank you both for the work that you do, because I'm a big fan of both of you. I watch Gary's videos all the time. Helps me to understand another perspective on what I'm typically hearing out on the internet, or that I hear on Twitter about what's going on in the world. And I think I really respect and admire people that can do what both of you have done today, which is to exchange and listen to ideas in the pursuit of answers. And that's why I'd highly recommend anybody, regardless of whether you agree with everything or some things or just a little bit, to go and follow Gary's channel on YouTube called Gary's Economics, because it's a great source of information from someone who has done it, understands the world from another perspective, but also someone who's providing a narrative, which I actually think as we kind of talked about before we started, there's a big gap in the market for. There are a lot of people like me and Dan out on the internet that are talking about entrepreneurship and finance and how to make money, but there aren't enough people talking about wealth inequality from the perspective as Gary sees it, and that are providing more sort of collectivist and sort of society-wide solutions and answers and sort of explanations as to why that's ultimately happening. I do think, because I know you, Dan, and I hope I know myself, I do think that we all want the UK to survive. And I think we all believe that the way that the UK survives isn't necessarily a couple of ultra-rich people getting more money. It is sort of social mobility, and it's allowing people that are at the very bottom to create opportunities and to succeed. We all agree upon that, even if we disagree, on the causes and the solutions to that. I'd also highly recommend everybody to go check out The Trading Game, because everybody's talking about this book. And
Everybody.
I think it's, 4 weeks at the moment on the Sunday Times bestseller list.
4 weeks, number one.
Number one. 4 weeks, number one.
Number one.
Which is an incredible achievement, but it speaks to what's in this book, the way that the story is told, but also the timeliness of this message. So I'd highly recommend everybody go check it out. I'm going to put a link below so that everybody can go and do it. And if you just look at some of the testimonials for this book, it's profound. I hear people describe it as like unforgettable on one end and then sad on the other end, because that's the nature of the reality it speaks to. And I highly recommend everybody go check out Dan Priestley's Entrepreneur Revolution, but also your website has all of your resources and tools on it, so I'll link that on the screen. What's the...
At danielpriestley.com.
At danielpriestley.com. Thank you both for your generosity. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for bringing us together.
No matter where I am in the world, it seems like everyone is drinking matcha. And there's a good chance that matcha you're drinking is made by a company that I've invested more than 7 figures in, who are a sponsor of this podcast, called Perfect TED.
What the fuck
because
is
they're
matcha?
the brand used globally by cafes like Blank Street Coffee and Joe and the Juice and many, many more. Not only can you get Perfect TED matcha in cafes, but you can now also make it at home. Much cheaper. In seconds, using our flavoured matcha powders that I have here in front of me. Perfect TED matcha is ceremonial grade
like the
and
new
sourced
thing?
from Japan. It is smooth. It is naturally sweet, not like those bitter grassy matchas that I tried before Perfect TED. And if you are one of those people that have told yourself you don't like matcha, it's probably because you haven't tried our Perfect TED matcha. And you can find Perfect TED matcha in the UK in Tesco, Sainsbury's, Holland & Barrett, and in Waitrose, or Albert Heijn if you're in the Netherlands, and on Amazon in the USA, or get the full range online at perfectted.com, where you can get 40% off your first order with code Stephen40. This has always blown my mind a little bit. 53% of you that listen to this show regularly
don't even
yet
subscribe
subscribed to the show.
Come on,
so can I ask you for a
guys,
favour? If you like the show and you like what we do
please.
here and you want to support us, the free, simple way that you can do just that is
Just
by hitting
sub.
the subscribe button. And my commitment to you is if you do that, then I'll do everything in my power, me and my team, to make sure that this show is better for you every single week. We'll listen to your feedback, we'll find the guests that you want me to speak to, and we'll continue to do what we
Destiny.
do. Thank you so much.
Me. Talk to me. Bring me on with one of these guys, either one of them. Holy Christ. You think Gary will have a conversation with us? It's late, but we'll read a chapter. Fuck it. One sec, give me a minute. Ooh. Okay, actually, I changed my mind. Listen, we're going to read for 2 hours tomorrow, okay? If we don't, you have permission. I'll owe all of you $1,000, okay? Wait, what? Why did this attorney die? Or what happened? This is a clip of Chris Williamson on Rogan.
That was something that I noticed, a trend that I've noticed over the last couple of years. Legacy media is really struggling to garner attention itself. It seems like fewer and fewer people are listening to it. We saw that over the last election. You know, it seems to me like the best way that legacy media can gain traffic is to talk about independent media.
Yeah.
How many times are we seeing headlines about Andrew Huberman or about the right-wing manosphere pipeline and how it's getting people to do this? Or the other side, like, why is there not a Joe Rogan of the left? Like, you know, whatever.
This is one of the reasons why I said sometimes doing some of these alternative media things, even if it doesn't, even though you're not doing a mainstream media thing, there's like ripple effects where the mainstream media does cover the alternative media stuff. One of the things I mentioned for Kamala is, like, should you go on podcasts or whatever? I think it is worth it because it does ripple out to mainstream media and to the other like social media platforms as well, like your Facebooks and everything too.
Whatever the headline is, more and more the way that legacy media is able to achieve traffic is only in reference to independent media.
Yes.
So then, as opposed to us being downstream from them, they're now downstream from us.
Yeah, and anything masculine is right wing. Anything. You cannot be masculine. Like, you cannot be interested in physical fitness, anything.
It's a pipeline to being right wing.
Yes. You can't like fast cars.
Nope.
You're not allowed to. You're not even allowed to like Teslas anymore, which are
Misogynist.
the fastest cars.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
God, he's such a fucking loser. Ah!
misogynist. You're probably racist, maybe a Nazi. I'm going to put a swastika in your car just to let everybody know. There was some really fucking stupid graph that someone put up of how right-wing social media and new media people
That was the Media
dominate.
Matters
Yeah.
study. Yeah. This is
And
interesting.
I was
Jamie,
at
can
the
you try
top
and
of the
find that?
list.
Is he allowed to do that? Is Chris allowed to do that? He just commanded Jamie. Did you hear that?
That was the Media
Dominate.
Matters
Yeah.
study. Yeah. This is
And
interesting.
I was
Jamie,
at
can
the
you try
top
and
of the
find that?
list. I was at the top of the list, and I was like, I feel like the way Caitlyn Jenner must have felt like when she won Woman of the Year. Like, it's so quick. I got to the top of the list. I'm not even right wing. Just because I support Trump, I support him over the rest
Just because I support the right-wing candidate for president and their entire political agenda, why does that make me right-wing? What?
of the fucking nonsense that was going on when you're trying to push through someone without even a primary.
Here it is.
This is it. I'm number one, bitch. It's kind of funny. Like, they're putting Theo Vaughn in
Lex
there.
Friedman.
Yeah, that's Lex Friedman. That's hilarious
Lex? Right-wing? What?
to put him in there.
But he says
Who
he's
else they have
liberal.
in there that's ridiculous?
Piers Morgan.
Well, Piers Morgan is kind of like right-leaning.
Just to be clear, and I have my issues with Pierce. Maybe it's just because he's European, so the Russian threat and everything is a little bit more ever-present, I guess. Joe Rogan is infinitely more right-wing than fucking Piers Morgan is. There's like a sliver of a potentiality to argue that Piers is like a radical centrist who's just fucking outrage farming. Joe Rogan is a full-on Trump dick suck. It's not even close.
I think,
Like,
but,
right.
but I think he's pretty reasonable. I think he's far more of a centrist.
Kill Tony 3.5. I still don't understand how that's a political show.
It's not, but Tony, was at the
New
White
York.
House or the
Flagrant 2.8.
Was it Madison Square Garden, the event?
Yeah.
Flagrant is not a right-wing show, you fucking
I have
idiots.
a bunch of red dots too with no names on them, and then blue dots.
You're
too,
allowed
but
to. Shut up,
they just
Jamie.
didn't
Stop
put
being.
names.
Well, they don't have anything on them because they're too small to put. I think the blue ones are there as well. They're too small. You can't see what they're saying, but
I managed to thread the needle of avoiding this.
You're gonna get on there now.
Yeah, well,
They're gonna put you on now.
Yeah.
Jamie, those red ones are real. Just shut up.
No, I don't know.
No,
why
they're
they were-
real. They're all
Blue
real. There's a
ones,
couple blue ones that are real
Just put
too.
the name. I don't know. Why they did it that
Fuck
way.
the name.
Yeah.
They're too little to get
Too
a
small.
name.
No one cares. No one gives a
Yeah,
fuck.
it's hilarious. It's
Yeah, I
very
don't-
funny.
What do you think of?
Okay. I think I might take tomorrow off, or I have to tomorrow. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going somewhere in the morning. Be careful. Stay safe. I love you all so much. So very much. You're beautiful people. Be careful.